Are you getting to a stage in Football Manager this game cycle where you're bored of the game and you want a new challenge? You're looking for a new save. Well, today we have a database for you. A couple of weeks ago, we introduced a database where you effectively got relegated down through the English leagues by being successful, where we actually changed the rules of the English league system and you actually got more points for a defeat than you did for winning a game of football. Well, we've expanded on that thanks to the amazing CTXCB for this database, where the rules in England change every 4 years. So in the first 4 years, as we said in the last database, you get more points for losing a game. So you can win the Premier League pretty darn easily just by throwing the game. However, after 4 years, the rules flip and revert back to normal, and then you go again, and it changes 4 years on 4 years on 4 years. We've done a simulation of this rule test going 50 years into the future to see how the landscape of English football changes over the course of 50 years, but also to see who is on top. And if you want to get your hands on this database, you can do, because we will be releasing it right at the start. If you want to take over your club at the start and try and manage it through a turbulent journey, or if you want to have a completely different landscape of how things look, we've got it 50 years into the future and you can pick up both. But please do make sure you go out and check out CTXCB, the creator of this database. His links will be in my description. But let's dive in and take a look at this database. So guys, as you can see, it is the year 2071 and we are in game and we are looking initially at the Premier League. Now, as you can see, Sheffield Wednesday have just won the Premier League with 140 points by only winning 2 games in the Premier League season. But you can see in here, though, this is basically why I'm calling this the washing machine database. There is basically different teams up and down, left, right and centre. There's so many different winners of the Premier League. You still get pretty darn good money for winning the Premier League, but the competition reputation has fallen somewhat. It is now below the leagues in Croatia, Norway, Belgium and Switzerland, for example. But this is the Premier League as things stand, just before the rules flick back to normal. Obviously, the 3 points for a victory, 1 point for a draw, 0 for a defeat. There's some interesting teams in here. Obviously, you can see Sheffield Wednesday, Maidenhead are the team coming in second. Burnley, Plymouth, Charlton, some other ones in here. Morpeth is a team I've never heard of. Tunbridge, obviously another small team. But interestingly enough, Manchester City are here as well. They've worked their way back into the Premier League as things are about to revert to normal. So it's going to be interesting to see if Manchester City and all their millions do continue to then push them back up to the top of the Premier League. Obviously, some other interesting teams in here. But if we go into the rules section, for this season, as you can see, there is 2 points for a victory, 3 points for a draw, and 4 points for a defeat. Now, this is the last iteration of this, and as I said, the rules change every 4 years between this setup and the normal setup that you would expect in real world football. So there's a lot going on here, but I just want to take a look at this guy because I looked at him before I started recording. This is a guy playing for Eastbourne Borough in the Premier League. So he is 32 years of age, a Polish international, looks very good, playing for Eastbourne Borough. Obviously a very nice Premier League player here, but there are some very good players in here. And if you want a completely different landscape, this is the database for you. If we take a look at some of the past winners of the Premier League, let's all scroll down to the most recent season. Obviously Brighton won it that year. And then Coventry, Plymouth, you can kind of see what's happening here. And then as the rules change after these first 4 seasons, so you've got Brighton, Coventry, Plymouth and Gillingham winning it, and then it reverts back to normal where you get the most points by winning games, and Brighton, Palace, Brighton again, and then West Ham win it, then it switches. And as you can see, there are some interesting winners as we move on. Bristol City have won the Premier League, my team, thank you, let's go. Arsenal back on top, Sunderland also winning it as well. There's definitely some interesting ones. Lincoln winning it 3 years on the spin, and then you see the climb of Eastbourne Borough into the Premier League, Morpeth winning it, AFC Wimbledon, and all of this good stuff. But if we take a look actually at the stages, you can kind of see what happens with this database. So 140 points wins it for Sheffield Wednesday here, 134, and then it goes back to the normal Premier League sort of style with 3 points for a victory. Millwall winning that one, Notts County, and then Leeds. So you can kind of see how this database works, guys. Obviously you can see Man City loitering around in 11th. How have Manchester City worked over the course of things? They did drop all the way down into League 2, and then they have their moments where they do get promoted and they start coming back up the divisions when it is a positive time around. So it's very interesting to see with this database, and it does offer a very different challenge. Who is their best player? Just out of curiosity. Not actually that great for a player in the Premier League. He is only 26 years of age though, so might get a little touch better. So the Premier League does look very interesting in its current iteration, but the same is the case for all the way down the divisions. If we drop into the Championship, as you can see, Blackpool did lose that playoff final, but that does also mean in this particular rule set that they do get promoted. As I said, this database is crazy. We've got so many different teams in here. If we drop down into Sky Bet League One, you will see some more familiar names as you would expect. Arsenal are down here, Aston Villa. Some other teams like that, Derby, Swansea, etc. Some other names that you would be accustomed to seeing. In Sky Bet League 2, we've got a couple of others as well, a couple of Premier League teams, some teams that you would expect, some teams that you really wouldn't expect. Merthyr, for instance, are a team that are now in Sky Bet League 2 because of their progression alongside Norwich and multiple-time European Cup winners Nottingham Forest. If we drop down even further, just to show you guys that it does work in this division as well, we are down into the conference where you will find Manchester United. They are in the National League alongside some of the other teams that you maybe would be expecting down there. And then just to complete the set, let's go into the National League North again. Much the same down here. You've got Stoke City just being relegated alongside Cambridge and Newcastle United. So it'd be interesting to see if we did this a few more seasons, if Newcastle would start coming back up the leagues. And then if we go into the south, just to round things off, we've got Tiverton, who are actually going to be a new team in FM23, alongside the likes of Bournemouth and Exeter and Oxford, who are being relegated out of league football. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this goes. But if you fancy a save in your game and you're bored of FM, I think this could be a really interesting one for you guys to try, because there is so much that can go on in this database, and it's such a turbulent journey balancing when to be good and when to be bad. If you've liked this, please do go and check out CT. His links will be in the description, and until then, check out this video, which is a nice little tactic that you could potentially use in this system.